Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another Pinball in a Movie presentation. This presentation will be a little different from my other ones. I'm going to actually split this into two parts. So part one will just be about the movie itself, and then the second part will be another video solely on the pinball table. The reason why I wanted to do this was because Tron Legacy and the Tron franchise, there's a lot to say about it, and I don't want to do too much in one video. I think it's better if it's split. And another reason why I am even doing this, why I decided to do Tron Legacy, is because I just recently, a couple of months ago, 2 months back, played the real table. As you can see, the two pictures on this slide. And I enjoyed the table, and I had played the VPX version before, so I knew it was based on a movie, and after having played it, I thought, why not actually watch it to kind of tie in everything together? So that's what I did. That's why I chose to do this, to release this video. Now I can, say I've seen the movie, played the VPX, and the real pinball table, so it's just really a nice kind of culmination there. So talking about the movie Tron Legacy, it was released in 2010. I confuse it a lot and say 2011, but that's when Stern released the pinball table. And it was directed by a man named Joseph Kosinski, and it is a sequel to the original Tron released in 1982. The cast included Garrett Hedlund as Sam Flynn, Jeff Bridges as Kevin Flynn, the father, and Olivia Wilde as Cora. And it also included a soundtrack from Daft Punk, which is one of the coolest soundtracks. And one of the coolest things about this film is that the soundtrack includes like over 30 tracks from Daft Punk. And I was reading too that Daft Punk, the members of the band, are actually huge fans of Tron. So it was really cool that they were able to get together and make the music for this film. They also made the music a little different to their normal discography because they wanted to use less synthesizers and more like orchestral soundtracks, which was pretty interesting to read about. Also, I forgot to mention that Jeff Bridges was also in the first Tron. So I like the idea of having an actor return for a sequel. I think that's really cool to do. I know it's not always possible, and sometimes it may not make sense, but whenever you can get actors to return, that's pretty cool to me as well. And also, the original director of the first Tron, what's his name? It was, let me see here. It was Steven, where is that? I know I had it here. Steven Lisberger. So Steven Lisberger actually got to co-produce this film, and that is really cool as well. So when you can get the people from the original to give their ideas and work on the sequel, it makes for some interesting dynamics. Also, this movie was a Walt Disney film, and it was heavily promoted in terms of advertisements, promotional deals, merchandise. There was, I think, Xbox 360 controllers with Tron graphics on them. There was also a video game in 2003, a first-person shooter called Tron 2.0, and a lot of advertisements were like displayed on phones during the time with like cell phones, kind of teasing this film. So Walt Disney really went all in to promote this film, and oddly enough, the film was not really considered a commercial success, but it still did well. But when you think about everything that was done, I think Walt Disney thought they had envisioned it to be like a super success. But on that same note, Tron Legacy, the sequel, didn't really get going until Disney realized that they had the rights to Tron, and they realized that Tron had garnered a cult following. So that's sort of how it became to be. How Tron Legacy came to be is that Disney realized that, Tron, the original, had some sort of cult following, and so they wanted to, take that and expand on it. And so this movie, I think its filming began way before 2010. I think the idea for it, when production started, was around 2005. So a lot of time went into this film, and you can see here on the slide that this movie, one of the greatest things about this movie is the special effects, the visual effects. About 1,565 shots were used in this film, and that alone took 2 years to complete. And so when you watch this movie, you are taken away. A lot of people who have reviewed and critiqued the movie will tell you that this movie is all, the special effects, the visual effects are really good. They really add to the experience of the movie. When you first watch the film and you see the Disney Castle logo, it's not the usual logo. They make it look like it's part of the grid. So it's really, right from the beginning, right from the get-go, you're already inside this virtual, you're in the movie, you know what I mean? And I think that's what the directors were trying to do, to really make the viewer a part of the film instead of feeling like they're just viewing. They wanted you to be a part of the experience. And that's what I think makes some movies really good, because when you can get the viewer to feel like they're part of the movie, it just makes them invest in it more. And on that same note as well, the movie was also filmed in 3D. So IMAX was showing this film in 3D, and I think, I'd love to see this movie in 3D. I think it would be an awesome experience. But just those facts alone tell you how much this movie is really a visual and kind of a spectacle, than just simply a movie. The filming location was primarily in Vancouver, British Columbia, and Canada. And I thought the location for the shooting was really nice, and the photography was really great. I mean, that's something that you never really never really know unless you do the research. But it looks like Vancouver, where they decided to shoot the film, was it looks beautiful. It looks like a nice city, very futuristic, modern kind of city. And there's a lot of themes in this film and a lot of references, but I think the major theme that I want you to take from this is really about technology, artificial intelligence, and the idea of perfection. And that's where I sort of want to lead into now, because Tron Legacy really focuses on Jeff Bridges' character, Kevin Flynn, who has created this world, this virtual world called the Grid. And the Grid is supposed to be a world that doesn't really have the same limitations that reality has, in terms of time. Everything in this virtual world, the Grid, can be done fast, lightning speed, light cycles. And so the concept that this movie, I think, imbues is trying to make people think about what we're trying to do with technology. You think about technology, how it's, with the advancement of our technology, how we've tried to make things more efficient, and by doing so, we try to make things more perfect, right? We like, more. We have AI doing things for us, doing these tasks and things that would take us a long time. And we're becoming, with our society, we're becoming so digitalized, honestly. Where everything is on the cloud. You can think of the cloud almost like the Grid, right? You've heard that saying before. He was off the grid, meaning he doesn't have any, connection to the internet. He doesn't have any social media, anything like that. He's completely off the grid. So this grid now is sort of like what we call the cloud in big tech. You know, the cloud, the server, right? So when you watch this movie, you're going to see a lot of influences of, you know, computers and security, cyber security, and this idea that there's a perfect kind of, you know, computer software, that there's a perfect kind of world that that Kevin Flynn has created, has gone, you know, is not so perfect, because perfection is something that can never really be obtained, right? And so when you watch this movie, there's a lot of influences to Christianity as well. And, you know, Kevin Flynn can be seen as God, and then Sam Flynn can be seen as Jesus. Or, you know, you can see Sam Flynn as like a prophet, the chosen one, right? We've seen that a lot in films about the chosen one. Oh, and that brings me to a point. A lot of people who watch this movie maybe see Matrix influences, and the executives at Walt Disney wanted to make sure that they made the grid in this movie to be its own thing. They didn't want people to feel like they were watching the Matrix again, because, you know, you'll see a lot of similarities between the Matrix and the grid, right? The Matrix is more about the internet, but the grid is more like, you know, this own virtual reality, right? And so you have this idea of a perfected universe and a utopia. And so this theme has been covered in a lot of sci-fi movies, but you just kind of think about it, you know, there's never going to be a perfect universe, really, right? Because there's always going to be some kind of there's always going to be some flaw, some security flaw, right? There's always something that's going to go wrong, right? And so that's what happens in this film. Kevin Flynn's character creates Clue to help him, you know, run Tron in the grid. And as you'll see in the movie, Clue defects from Kevin, and, you know, that's where things go wrong. So it's kind of like the theme of AI turning against us, turning against its creator. And then that's really where I got a lot of my enjoyment from, is just that whole concept. It's a kind of movie that makes you, after you watch it, you want to connect the dots, because there's so much to say, and the idea is so unique almost. And it makes me want to watch the original Tron, which I have not seen yet, but I want to see it now. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but it did remind me a lot of Blade Runner a little bit. Blade Runner 2049, in terms of like the set design, even maybe a little bit of the story, how the replicants were sort of like the ISOs in Tron Legacy, and it just looked really kind of futuristic, like Blade Runner did. I even thought Ryan Gosling could have played a good Sam Flynn. I wonder if he was even like tried to cast. I'm just reading through my notes now. There's also been a lot of theme parks that have that have paid homage to the Tron franchise, with, you know, rides having pictures and artwork, and even special light dances. This movie, Tron Legacy, has also gained a cult following as well. A lot of people who watch it really say the special effects are awesome, but then you have another camp saying that the story wasn't developed enough, which I don't agree with. I think it was a good movie, a good 2-hour film. And then you also have a third movie, Tron Ares, that's set to release in October of 2025, which is pretty cool. Sounds like it's going to be a good one. And we already talked about Some of the references also is Kevin Flynn's character was inspired by Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, who created Microsoft and Apple. And so that's what Kevin Flynn's character was kind of inspired to do, is create a perfect operating system, a perfect world that was, free. But it's kind of funny to me now because Microsoft and Apple are so commercialized now, But there are, I think, free operating systems that are completely free. I think they even referenced Linux and Ubuntu in the film, but I don't know a lot about them, but I think those are actually, those are actually free and actually more secure than Microsoft and Apple claim to be. We already talked about how Disney executives didn't want people to feel like they were watching the Matrix movies, so they tried to make Tron its own world. Also, Kosinski, the director, created a conceptual prototype of the world, of the Tron world, before the movie released, and that started the green light for the film. And they did a lot of teasing of that prototype and some stills, and I believe the light cycle props at Comic-Con in San Diego. So they really did a lot of work to tease the film. And something I want to say that was really cool is at the beginning of the movie, you see the interaction between, you see Jeff Bridges, but that's completely CGI. That's completely CG. And the likeness for his his face and his head was taken from his 1984 film Against All Odds. But I'm wondering why didn't they take it from the original Tron, which he also which he starred in. But I'm thinking maybe it had to do with media rights or something like that. And so, when part of Disney teasing this film, they there would be people, fans would also make sites like flynnlives.com to kind of tease, to anticipate the movie. And there was just so much. I mean, there was even there was a lot of special promotions and premieres. The CN Tower in Toronto was lit blue to resemble the grid when the movie released up in Canada. And there was even a Tron Uprising animated TV series in 2012 that takes place after Tron Legacy. So there's a lot that you can read about in this film. And there's just so much. That's why I only wanted to make it part one. But let me know what you think about the movie, what you thought about it. I love discussing film with you guys. Let me know if there's something that I missed that was important that you want to let me know, that you want to talk to me about. But I hope you enjoyed, and I liked the film. I enjoyed the set design. I enjoyed the soundtrack. And of course the special effects, which is so cool. Everything just fits so cool. It did remind me a little bit of the Drive movie with Ryan Gosling for some reason. Just really cool scenes with the disc fights, and the concept, just really cool. So I will have part 2 sometime soon, but until next time, I'll catch you guys later. Take care, and thanks for watching.